New Testament reading comes from the Gospel of Matthew, 4th chapters, beginning from verse 18 up to 22. As he walked by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fish for people." Immediately they left their net and followed him. As he went from there, he saw two other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John, in the boat with their father Zebedee, mending their nets. And he called them. Immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. The word of the Lord. Strangely, this simple biblical story generates a rush of complicated thoughts. Follow me. It's as if Jesus is saying, let me have just a few handful people of ordinary background and with no great sort of resume. But if they give themselves to me, together, we will change the world. Which of course prompts themselves to me and some sort of and cynicism. If this were presented today, today's political sort of platform as a slogan for gathering up supporters. Follow me. It's as if the first thing ever would be follow of Jesus has to do is to split from their old family homestead and business, leaving mom holding the fish head and dad a defective net in Galilee. Is that any way to run a fishing village, let alone to obey the great fifth commandment, to honor your father and your mother? Follow me, just like that. If that's the way to live, then Socrates was wrong, because it is not the unexamined, but the uncommitted life that finally is not worth living. And I think equally wrong is Descartes. I think, therefore I am. Nonsense. I love, therefore I am. But we can be carried away on this torrent of thoughts. Let's slow down, set the scene, and proceed in more orderly fashion. Jesus utters these words as he walked by the Sea of Galilee. In the Bible, this is a small point, but this body of water was very important, for it gave life to the entire region of Galilee. 13 miles long from north to south, and 8 miles across, it is surrounded by rounded hills and also rugged mountains. In Jesus' day, there were 9 populous cities along the seashores, the road joining them and led northeast to Damascus and the southwest all the way to Egypt. Josephus, a well-known first-century Jewish historian, once counted that there were 330 fishing boats on the water. Fish, not meat, is the staple diet of families who are living in a Tiberias and Bethsaida, a town whose name literally means house of fish. As for Bethlehem, also meant the house of bread. In those days, the fishes were caught in 2 different ways. by drag or troweling the net into the bottom, or by casting net. Perhaps before the sun, we can imagine Peter and his brother Andrew had gone to work standing in the water, tunics tucked under their girders and casting their net with all the skills, just like the cowboys posting lassos. Passing by, Jesus said to them, "Follow me. I will make you fishers of women and men." Now, it is entirely possible that Peter and Andrew, as well as James and John, had heard Jesus before. In fact, in the Gospel of John, it is recorded that Andrew had been a disciple of John the Baptist when he first met Jesus. So the decision to follow Jesus may not have been totally impulsive one. Moreover, we can overlook that the sense of need and expectation, that feeling inside of so many of us, that says in our heart, there must be something more. The feeling that always is, as it were, the passport to Jesus' presence. I suspect that Peter and Andrew, James and John were not the docile kind of people or obedient citizens. In those days, whose number continued to increase to a truly rapid rate. I suspect that in contrast, so many affluent present-day New Jersey residents, and these 4 Palestinian fishermen had longing that not even virgin full of fishing net could satisfy their souls. A livelihood, after all, is not a life. And so they may have craved wider seas. Their combustible heart may have been awaiting for long the kind of flame that Jesus offered them as he passed by on the shore. Maybe Jesus' eagerness sparked their youth. Maybe Jesus' tenderness kindled their love. Maybe Jesus' spiritual authority, their loyalty. But whatever their reason or lack of reasons, for love doesn't require a laundry list of things. Their decision to follow Jesus represent what has come to be known as the leap of faith. Faith is anti-clever. If we mean by cleverness as the attitude which boasts its superiority over the unlearned people, but there is nothing anti-intellectual in the leap of faith. For it is not a decision to believe without proof, but rather it is a decision to trust without reservation. Faith is no substitute for good, healthy, hard thinking. On the contrary, it is what makes indeed a good thinking possible. It is what we might call a limbering effect on our mind by taking us beyond the familiar ground, and faith ends up giving up. There's much more to think about. So certainly Peter and Andrew and James and John, in deciding to follow Jesus, they received more to think about than had they stayed at home. If we give our lives to Christ, if we leave familiar territory and take the leap of faith, what we receive in return fills our minds altogether as much as it fills our soul and our heart. Picture Peter and Andrew, James and John following Jesus on his journey of boundless mercy. It would be very hard not to believe that they learned not only to love more deeply and see things more clearly, but also to live more fully and laugh more easily. In my observation and my personal experience, there is less suffering under Christ's yoke once you accept it. And I have to admit, and that's a big once. Then there is under yokes of our own making, such as yokes of anxiety, yokes of fear, yokes of prejudice, yokes of hatred, yokes of decadence, and yokes of impenitence. We all know that the discipleship of following Jesus is costly. It certainly is. But it is never a solitary suffering. A suffering without Jesus, without grace. So here are some sentences which I love. And I'm quoting from Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a modern-day martyr, a German theologian. If there was one, sentences to which the serious Christians can return and again with great spiritual benefit, time and time again. And I'm reading it. Grace is costly because it calls us to follow. And it is grace because it calls us to follow Jesus Christ. It is costly because it cost a man his life. And it is grace because it gives a man the only true life. It is costly because it condemns sin. And grace because it justifies the sinners. Above all, it is costly because it cost God the life of his only Son. And above all, it is grace because God did not reckon his Son too dear a price to pay for our life. End of quote. If all that is true, if what we hear from the gospel is true, dear beloved, why wait? Let's try. Let's give it a try. Let's live as if the truth were true. As we enter into the season of Lent, let's once again hear and heed the word. Follow me. And let Jesus woo and win our hearts anew. Because our Lord Jesus is ready to make us the fishers of man and woman in the modern day as evangelists. You know, good fishermen, after all, they are known for their patience and their sense of timing. They know when the fish are rising and active, and they know what bait is appropriate to them, and most of all, how to make themselves so hiding as possible. So what then is evangelism? You know, this is not an easy concept, but I think best definition I know of this difficult concept perhaps is contained in the following. Evangelism, as described by some, is a one beggar telling another beggar where he found precious bread. But what does that mean? Here are some words of a wise psychologist, Robert Coles, who wrote many, many wonderful books about children's psychology. And he says, in this life, we prepare for things, for moments and events and situations. We worry about wrongs, think about injustice, read that Tolstoy has to say. Then all of a sudden, the issue is not whether we agree with what we have heard or read and studied. The real issue is us and what we have become. Let us be more honest now. And that's always the issue, isn't it? Us, what we have become. In this life is finally not what we do or don't do, or what we think or don't think about. It is not whether politically we are conservative, liberal, radical, or whatever. Rather, it is what we have become. More generous or mean spirit. More thoughtful or slothful. Merely clever or truly wise. Better company or dull as dishwater. As here is where the faith enters in. For whatever we have already become does not have to be who we might be. Once again, Christ does not seek to convert us from this life to the life that is much more than life, but from something less than life to the possibility of living a full life itself. As the old patriarch in a Christian tradition says, the glory of God is a human being fully alive. That's the glory of God. When you and I live our life fully, with full joy, meaning, and purpose, and we give our God the glory. And one final thought. I know how many of you feel much of the time. It is the way that I sometimes feel, and the way that I'm sure those four fishermen of you feel too. Oh God, my boat is too tiny and small, and the sea is so large and vast. But the Christ was not daunted by modest beginning. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of women and men. It's as if Jesus is saying, let me just have a few handful of people. They don't have to have a PhD or have the social status. I just need ordinary men and women, a handful of people. But if they give themselves to me, together, we can change the world. So why wait, brothers and sisters? Let's live our life more fully, especially during this Lent, as we obey ourselves to God's invitation, follow me, as we follow the footsteps of Jesus Christ. Because you know what? The truth we know from the gospel, and the truth that has been proclaimed over 2,000 years since Jesus walked on this surface of the earth. Because that truth is really truth. Amen.